Alright, I'm back at Hale trailer, picking up my flip neck. Meet again with Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Sergey?
Nice to see you again.
You too.
Alright, and we have some cool toys in here. You want to talk about, heavy haul and the various setups in here. And Mark had some suggestions, and just to understand, for people to make it easier to understand how the flip neck and how the Jeeps affect the center of gravity. So you were saying about something about the Jeeps and stuff, right?
Yeah, so one of the misconceptions that guys in the heavy haul world think is when they buy a trailer, if they buy a 3-axle trailer and they want to add more weight, they think, okay, let me just add a 4th axle. Let me just add a spreader bar. Let me add a flip box, and let me add a Jeep dolly. But the problem is when these trailers are designed, they're designed in a certain span. This particular trailer, this model here, is a 55-ton Fontaine magnitude. So this particular trailer, you could buy it as a 3-axle trailer. You can add a short flip box here, 23-inch, to give you a 125-inch swing. You could add a pin-on 4th axle, and you can add a spreader bar and make it a 3+1. And even with this short little flip box, you can add a short Jeep dolly, a 302J they call it. Now, this Jeep dolly here is a short Jeep dolly, and the inner bridge between truck and the front axle is only going to be about 7 to 8 feet. So in this particular case, in some states, they won't recognize this as 2 axle groupings. They'll recognize it as 1 axle grouping because this inner bridge is not long enough. A lot of states want to see a minimum of a 10-foot spread in between this axle and this axle. That's why you see flatbeds on the road with a 10-1 spread. Back here you have a 14-1 spread. So ideally they'd like to see a minimum of a 10-foot spread here, preferably a 14-1 spread. So Sergey, you just bought a 36-inch flip box, and your question to me was, should I have gotten the longer flip box without the Jeep dolly? Now you don't have the Jeep dolly, so you bought a 36-inch flip box, so you're able to transfer this weight and slide this 5th wheel further ahead, so you can maximize the steer axle weight and your weights here on your drives. Your question to me originally was, should I get a longer flip box instead of the shorter flip box, so that way I don't have to buy 2 different flip boxes. What would happen if you bought a longer flip box is your truck would essentially sit here with the flip box, and here's how the weight would transfer. So you got a center of gravity piece right here on the trailer. With 4 axles, forget about the nitro, but with 4 axles, the center of your span is somewhere right between axle 2 and axle 3. The span here with your flip box would be here. So what you have here is that when you have a payload here, the payload goes in 2 places. It goes to the kingpin and it goes to the center of your suspension. So if you have the payload sitting in the middle of the deck and you've got a 4-axle trailer here, your center of your suspension where the payload is going to go is right around here. With that long flip box, it's going here. And what happens here is now the CG of this load is farther away from your truck. So you're actually taking weight off of the truck and you're putting more weight on the back axles. So by going with a longer flip box, the 83-inch flip box, that would not have helped you without a Jeep dolly, because you're actually overloading your axles back here. So the shortest flip box was your best scenario with the trailer that you have.
Okay. And for my setup, right? So now when I only have a quad and now I have a 36-inch, what do you think the next step might be, like the most cost-effective way to haul more, to put more on the deck in here? Shall I go with a Stinger? Shall I get a Jeep, but then I need a flip box, a different one?
So what you could essentially do is you could get a shorter flip box, not a shorter flip box, a shorter Jeep dolly, or you can get, we had talked about a Joe Dog in Canada, a single axle Jeep dolly. A single axle Jeep dolly would potentially help you there.
Yeah, but they want at least 10 feet in there between the last axle.
Right.
Yeah, so the question was, what shall Captain Sergei do to increase the payload, to go from this machine maybe to go to something like this?
Okay.
since now I only have a quad, right? And now I have a 137-inch neck.
136. Yep.
Yeah, but I have a pusher. You know, I have 4 axles here. I have 4 axles here. That's it. So what can I do to haul more weight? What would be your recommendation?
Well, two things. Number one, haul more weight. The trailer is still designed for 60 ton. So whether you add more axles, more Jeep dollies, it's not going to increase the payload of the trailer itself. The trailer is still designed for what it's designed for. Where it's going to help you is certain states, certain provinces that you're driving through, help you axle the weight laws better. So, so just by adding a Jeep dolly is not going to mean you can add 70 ton to the trailer, or just by adding a spreader bar is not going to add 70 ton. What it's going to do, what you do to one side of the trailer, if you add a spreader bar here, again, you're moving the center of gravity. If you add a spreader bar here, you're moving the center of gravity further to the truck. So ideally, the next moves that you would want to do is almost both, you know, almost both. You would almost need a Jeep dolly and a spreader bar in order to maximize.
Yeah, but right now I cannot even put, the maximum I can put now is 90,000 pounds. That's the thing, right, on the trailer. Like, I cannot even come to the potential of 50-ton trailer, right? But 60-ton, why I got it, because in the future, of course, you know, you can get this long neck, which is not possible with a 50-ton on the Fontaine side, right?
Right.
They don't give even a 55-ton. You can only get 23-inch flip box, right? So you cannot use a tandem Jeep, right?
Correct.
So
Well, you could use this short little Jeep dolly.
yeah, but then
But
can
you're
you
limited.
get the weight? You cannot. They won't give you 40,000 on this, right?
It depends. They will. If no, the most likely they're going to give you 34,000 pounds, 17 an axle.
So.
Some states might give you 40,000 pounds if they're, you know,
But
when
that
you
Jeep
permanent.
Fontaine still makes that?
They do, yes. But this is for the 55-ton trailer. You know, this Jeep dolly does not slide, so it's basically designed. It's a fixed 8-foot wide short Jeep dolly designed for this 55-ton trailer.
So it's not available for my trailer?
No, the Jeep dolly that's available for your trailer would be the 402J. Or
the big one.
Yeah, so that's a traditional Jeep dolly where the axle slides forward.
Yeah,
so
it has a slider.
Yeah, so you can maximize the differences between the Jeep dolly and the drives on your truck.
Okay. But then for me, I would need to get that 83-inch flip box.
Correct.
Like this current one is pretty much, I got it for the weight distribution so I can move more weight to the front of the truck.
Right, exactly.
And basically, yeah, I did this when I got that 23-inch flip box, and I did an experiment when I was with a heavy load. As soon as I added that flip box, I lost 3,000 pounds from the fifth wheel. 2,000 went to the trailer, and 1,000 went to the steer.
Right.
It was like magic, because yeah, like you were saying, because now when you have the flip box, you're moving the truck away, right? So more weight goes on the trailer, and was my issue now with this 101-inch standard neck. I was always pretty much close to the max on the pusher and drives. I was not enough here, and I didn't have enough on the back there.
Right.
So,
and now.
But again, the Jeep, just the Jeep by itself, it's not gonna. When you have a Jeep, right? So just like you were saying, you're gonna put the truck again further away from the load, so that would put more weight on the. Without the Stinger, you can overload the trailer, right?
Right, exactly.
Just with the Jeep, so you need to buy them together. Right?
You pretty much, that's your next step is pretty much buying the longer flip box, the bigger Jeep dolly, and the spreader bar.
Yeah, I'm playing the lottery every week, so
yeah.
You know, one of these days, because yeah, the Jeep you were saying, like around 50 grand, right?
Right.
Well, but I'm telling you, in Canada, they can build them brand new for 40 grand Canadian.
Okay.
Which is 28 US.
Okay.
You know, and I think the flip box you can probably, is it possible to find it used? 83. I don't think it's
not that common. It's
Yeah.
not that common. So is it possible? Sure, anything's possible, but it's
But
going to
the
be
Jeep,
rare.
I know Jeeps. I was looking at like Ritchie Brothers. There's a bunch of these used ones, right? So it probably would make more sense because just 50 grand. You know, my Dodge Challenger 6.4 is 38,000 US. Brand new, right?
I know. It's mind-boggling. I agree. I mean.
So what about this? So would you recommend, like, let's say if I get the tandem Jeep, like regular big one, 402 Fontaine, and a big flip box, do you think a single spreader would work like this, 3+1, or or do you need 2+2?
No, single spreader would work. Single spreader would
Okay.
work. So basically, where the single spreader, so here's what happens here. So basically, you've got a 3-axle trailer. Center of your suspension is axle number 2. You add the 4th axle, center of your suspension is this bolster here.
Yeah.
You add the 3+1, and your center of your suspension is going to be pretty much right around here.
Yeah.
When you take this, when you make it a 2+2, the center of your suspension is a little bit further back,
It's probably almost the same, right?
but it's almost the same. But it's almost the same.
That's why it doesn't make too much of a difference.
It doesn't make too much difference. Where it makes a difference is states will recognize a 2+2 grouping and give you more weight as a 2+2
Yeah.
grouping versus a 3+1 grouping. For instance, in the state of Pennsylvania, they'll give you 21 an axle per here, like this group, so 63,000 pounds, and 26,000 pounds here, so 89,000 pounds in a normal routine issue. Challenge you have is it's difficult to get 26,000
Yeah.
pounds back here. Your center of gravity is still right here. So in order to try to transfer 26,000 pounds back here, you know, yeah, you could use a nitrogen bar and try to leverage more pressure back here, but the weight really comes by moving the center of gravity further to the rear in order to get that weight back here.
Yeah, but also that 2+2, that spreader, it's much heavier. Like I was talking to Fontaine, and they said this one on Fontaine is 2,500 pounds, and the EQ2 is 4,500 pounds.
Right.
So basically, you're losing that. You know, you're adding the spreader. Yeah, you get more weight, but then you're losing that 4,500 pounds from your payload.
Exactly, and the thing too is that 2-axle, and the reason being is because that we're asking that 2-axle nitro to push pressure and weight to 2 axles versus 1 axle. So the nitrogen accumulator is bigger, the cylinders are bigger. The other thing too is when you're backing up, if you want to lift that axle off
Yeah.
the ground, those cylinders got to be heavier to lift that off the
But then you
ground.
see, like from the practical standpoint, right? If you imagine, I have, let's say, 110, 115,000 pounds here, and I have 2+2, and then I have to back, and now of course I have to lift that. And now imagine all that weight will sit just on a tandem.
Right, I know.
You know, I think, I don't know, like I like the look of the 2+2+2, but I think it just makes more practical sense to have 3+1. Because yeah, you do get more weight, but then I think it's easier to. And some people were saying that on bad weather, that tandem can actually steer you like in the ditch if you're not
Okay.
careful.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's so much weight in there, right?
Right,
When you have this setup, most weight will be here on the tridem, right?
right.
So I don't know.
And also the 2-axle nitro is almost double the cost. Besides the weight, it's almost double the cost of the single-axle nitro.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's another.
No, but for my trailer, you were saying that Fontaine wants me to use the big one anyway. I think you said that for 60 ton, because I have a tandem here, they want me to have that EQ2 even if I hook it up like this. But I'm not sure. I wanted to verify with you. But
Say that again. As far as you
no,
say.
I know. Like this one is called EQ1,
Right,
right?
right.
Like the bigger one that you use to create a 2+2 grouping is called EQ2.
Exactly, yep.
So Fontaine says that for my trailer, because I only have 2 axles in the back, I must use EQ2 for everything. I cannot use EQ1. That's what they're saying. I don't know. Maybe they're mistaken.
Yeah, you could run it as a 3. You could run it as a 3+1 and use the EQ1 versus just doing the.
Okay.
You know.
But I think you said it, but I don't know. I'll check with them.
Yeah,
But-
and I could double check that as well.
Well, probably be for somebody like me who's probably best to buy everything together because, like, I mean, next step, like
Yeah.
the Jeep, the Stinger, and the neck, because otherwise you buy the Jeep, you cannot use it effectively without the Stinger, right?
Right.
So,
I think what we talked about is the ears might have to be potentially modified a little bit to accept the EQ1 nitro.
I see.
Because the ears were designed for the bigger nitro to run it as a 2+2, but you should be able to still run a single axle nitro, but you might have to modify that, and we could double check that.
So can you give me an idea what's a brand new, just the spreader bar without the axle, like 3+1? What would be the,
Spreader bar, probably,
like it's nitro, right?
right, nitro spreader bar, you're probably 28, thousand bucks for the single axle nitro.
Oh,
The
wow.
double axle nitro, you're probably
Yes.
45,000, bucks.
That's just the spreader bar.
That's just a spreader
No
bar.
wheels, nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it jumps up there, you know, quite a bit.
Yeah, okay. All right, Mark, thanks a lot. So
Thank
now
you.
I'll go and check out my my flip box. And is it okay if I walk around and
Yeah,
show
yeah.
some trailers here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much. Yeah, I feel like kids, like a kid on Christmas. You know, what else do you need to be happy? You need a bunch of trailers, and here we have a stack of what is this? 2 trailers. Fontaine. Yeah, and check this out, right? Like the trailer, like my trailer before, but this is a 60 ton, so the neck is a 60 ton. So this one, I don't think is it a Fontaine? Yeah, it's a Fontaine. It's probably a light trailer, but that's kind of like my neck. But why we're here is because of this. That's what I just bought. I bought this. Right, I just gave the money at the office, got a receipt. So this is my 36-inch flip box. So it's gonna connect. See, like a massive pins, right? It's gonna connect to the neck. See over here. So it's gonna go down like this, or I can keep it up, but the 2 pins are gonna be in there. And what this does is it basically increases your wheelbase, and you can see that has these pins. These are pretty big. And I met another guy, interesting gentleman. He just got a used 70 ton with a Jeep. Oh, that's why. So I knew it was light. You see 40? I think it's extendable, because I never saw that kind of a ramp in the back. You see, like very steep. But you can see that this is extendable because of this. See this? This brake, so this is where it extends, right? And these loads, they can also pay good money, you know? So you can make good money either hauling heavy, or you can make good money if you are hauling something very long. So these guys, Hale Trailer, you see they sell all kinds of trailers. I like that you have a choice. You see, you can get a Talbot, you can get Excel, you can get Fontaine. Actually, Talbot looks not bad at all. Look at this. This is Talbot. Interesting, the locking pin is vertical. Pretty cool. What tires are they running? 275. Okay. This is kind of like my previous setup, right? Where I had to try them and this. But I think, you know, one thing I wanted to mention, like I was saying to Mark in the office, is that 3+1, you know, makes more sense for me, because like, you know, when you're backing with a heavy load, you have to lift the stinger, okay? And so imagine if you have a 60-ton load and you lift it, right? So all that will go on the 2 axles, you know? And plus, I'm never running with 2 axles like loaded, right? I never have such light load, so either I have a 3 axles or I have 4, right? And so for me, a 3+1 would make more sense. You know what I mean? Like, I mean the spreader bar. But you do need that spreader together with the Jeep, because then I can get you know, I can get 40,000 on the Jeep, I can get, you know, 60, 65 on the Tridem, and 20, 25 on the Stinger, on the last axle. But we'll see. Like, I like the beauty, the symmetry of 2 plus 2 plus 2, you know, tandem Jeep, tandem and tandem Stinger. And these are some container chassis over here. See, they have all kinds of trailers. The flatbeds, these are aluminized, super light. You see, like, the chassis, 7,400 pounds. And I wanted to show you guys that used truck that my YouTube follower Tom is buying. Wait a second, what do we have here? We got some step decks, and we got these are probably Manic step deck, double drops Fontaine LXL. Oh, I know this one. This one is it's a 30 ton. It's a 30-ton trailer, but look how low it is. I think it's one of their 12-inch models. No, this is super great for some super tall stuff. I was just offered a load. They have kind of like an RV, but like it's like a bus, you know. And it was 13 feet 2 inches tall, and they wanted shipped on a trailer, and I said it's not gonna work, you know. So my truck is there. I'm just waiting for a friend of mine who also I found through YouTube. He's gonna pick me up, and we'll go spend some time maybe in Philly, because we're just south of Philadelphia on the New Jersey side. But once that beeping subsides, let me go and see. We can talk to this guy Tom. Okay. So this is Tom. He follows me on YouTube, and he just got this 70-ton, right?
Yep, 70-ton.
And this is his Speed, the super long wheelbase. Tom is from Michigan. Tom, tell us what kind of a trailer did you buy?
It's a 2013 70-ton Fontaine. Also getting a brand new Jeep to go with it. Picking that up later.
Okay. And what's the setup in the back there? It's all modular, right?
Yep, completely modular. The deck can be changed. You can run it as 2, 3, 4, 5 axles. Put the spreader bar in between whatever.
Okay,
axles
so you can run it as 2+2 or 3+1 or a quad, right?
2, 3, 2, 3, 1.
And you have a big flip box, right? That's 83.
Yep. 70 or 80.
I think it's 83. Yeah. So basically, that's what I need too if I decide to buy a Jeep. And you're getting a brand new Jeep, right? Because they couldn't find it used, right?
2 axles.
What about your truck? Anything special about your truck? What year is this?
2008.
2008?
Yep.
Okay.
600 horse cab, 18 speed.
Oh, it's a cab.
Has
the
D production secondary box.
All right. How big are your tanks? Do you know?
150s. That one's split. It's partial hydraulic, and then the balance is diesel.
And so you have a pusher axles, 24/5 tires, and 20,000 on the front, right? How big is the sleeper?
What do they call it? 60 or 60?
68 probably?
63, the old style.
Okay, cool. Thanks very much, Tom.
Thanks, Sergey.
So we're gonna finish this video. A friend of mine brought me to the Delaware River, and this is a proprietor park. And behind me you can see all the ships in there. That's I-76, and that's already Pennsylvania. We are in New Jersey side, right? Delaware River, and that's Philly. And you can see big trucks over there in the distance. And the airport is that way. It's pretty cool. The weather's nice. I really enjoyed this visit, and my trailer is still in the shop. They're doing that big job with the neck pin, and they're changing the harness in the back, some electric issues, but hopefully it'll be done tomorrow, and I'll start looking for a load. Thanks for watching.